Wesley, I think this is maybe the most excited I've ever been to record an episode of the podcast.
I agree.
I've been having fun with these little snack-sized, lovely episodes. You know, like these little 25-chapter arcs, a little Drum Island here, a little like Whiskey Peak there. But this is more of what, like, to me in my mind, in my heart, a One Piece arc is. It is like a big, chunky arc where every character gets to, like, do some sort of something, and there's a whole, like, culture we get to learn about. There's a great villain involved.
Yes.
And I think every aspect, I mean, length aside, every aspect from these previous arcs has been missing. They've always missed one.
Yep.
But, like, finally, we've reached, like, a One Piece arc where Oda just has every single element completely figured out and is, like, given it enough time to do its thing.
Absolutely.
And I think this arc is going to be, like, really where our media literacy are pushed to their limit, because I think we, instead of just analyzing, like, 20 chapters, like, we're analyzing, like, 75.
For sure. There's a lot to unpack here, for sure.
Well, do you want to start from the beginning, or do you want to start from, like, where do you want to start, buddy?
That's a great question. I think this arc being as long as it is, I think it serves it could do some good to just kind of go over the arc, the narrative as a whole, because I think it'll be a good place for us to kind of ground our discussion.
Okay.
I think we're hot off the presses of Drum Island, which honestly at this point feels like years ago.
It really does.
Both in terms of, like, us reading it and actually, like, in the story. But I think something I appreciate is that this, One Piece arc transitions are very interesting to me from what we've seen so far. And I think this arc transitioning, from Drum Island to here, I think something that's really interesting is that we just kind of jump right into it. There's not much, like, downtime in between.
This is a slight sidebar. How much time has passed since, like, chapter 1?
That's actually a great question. I
want to say, like, several months, but I genuinely think it might have been, like, less than a month.
I know. It's very hard to say. I also want to say a couple of months, but there's also a chance. Because looking back on it, I think Drum Island was, like, just a day, right? Yeah,
like, I don't think they spend the night there or anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like sailing the Grand Line, in theory, should take, like, forever. Because, like, dude, getting between islands in real life takes, like, weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
But I get the vibe it's only, like, a couple days at a time.
Right. Especially since a lot of these islands are specifically close to each other. And then there's stuff like Baratier, which is just out on the sea. So kind of, like, throws a wrench in some of that sailing time.
I think a character to highlight this point, sorry, this is a weird tangent to go off first and foremost, but is, like, Vivi.
Yes.
Vivi is kind of the star of this Alabasta saga, should I say. I mean, we start the saga with Reverse Mountain beating her and that random king guy who sucks. And then we end on maybe One Piece's best moment so far of sending her off.
Absolutely.
And it's so interesting because I don't know if Vivi has known these guys for, like, several months or, like, genuinely sub a week. Like, I don't know.
That is very weird to consider. I mean, I definitely, like, based on the bond they build, it definitely feels longer. But, I mean, then again, with how lives work on the Grand Line, it could be a short amount of time. It's very weird. It's very unclear.
Well, hey, that's actually pretty thematically relevant, because as a wise character once said, friendship is not something determined by time spent together.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great pool.
That's a great pull, and I think we have to start this arc out with more discussion on Mr. Bon Clay, Mr. 2.
Reese, you're, we're hopping right to the meat, right to the thick of it here. Mm-hmm. I definitely have a lot of...
This kind of has a crazy start.
It really does. I have a lot to say about Bon Clay. Of course, there's that moment right off the bat where he just jumps on board, and he has that little gag with them, like switching faces. And I was really trying to rack my brain, because I swear there's another famous piece of media that has this trope where this kind of silly character is like using his powers, but then it turns out that because he did that, now he has access to all their faces before the arc even starts, basically. I couldn't like put my finger on what I was thinking of, but I think that was just a great tone setter for both how Baroque works are going to like be, you know, kind of how they're going to play against the Straw Hats here, as well as a very interesting opening to the Saban Clay character.
We had this discussion last episode, I believe, talking about like Bon Clay being a potentially a little problematic. Although, for what it's worth, I think I can confidently say I love Bon Clay.
Yes, I do too.
Like, I think he's easily one of the standouts of this arc. Yeah. But him being like someone who literally like pretends to be things he's not, like as his power, like him stealing, it feels like a little cringe. And like, if I could zoom out a little bit to be like, oh yeah, he can like be other people. He like steals their identity. I'm like, okay, I can see like Oda. Maybe he's not cooking in the kitchen with that one.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't know, man. I'd love to see more of this character, which in my predictions I'm fairly certain that we'll see more of him, but I don't know. I think there's some interesting stuff that maybe they do right with Bon Clay, especially like wrapping back around to the ends. I think actually his ending, and especially some of the choices in the official Shonen Jump TM app translation, how they frame his gender or their gender, which I think they refer to him as him, but the language that they use paints him.
He does say he's like, I'm not a man or a woman. And
right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
They, them.
Yeah.
Clay.
True. I think my biggest problem is that I get the sense that a lot of this stuff was just in the English translation.
Yeah, it's really hard to like, especially because like this translation is probably decently old. It's really hard to tell like what Oda was going for.
Exactly. And I think that fact you gave in the Drum Island episode about how there's a slur on his back. You know, part of me is thinking like, actually, maybe that is kind of a based idea. And then part of me is like, that is just problematic. But I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think if Bon Clay was just like an evil villain, I would be like, Oda, you're getting a big finger wag from me.
Exactly.
But darn it, I mean, he sort of sells it as just like, I would like to believe that he's sort of going for like this guy's not ashamed of anything. He's just wearing it all, like literally like on his sleeve. Yeah. And I mean, like, have you ever seen Tokyo Godfathers?
I've not, but I think I know what you're about to refer to.
Basically, I sort of get the vibe. Bon Clay is a lot like the lovely trans character in that movie. Yeah. And I think he's... Maybe, obviously, this is not nearly as, like, human and authentic as fucking Tokyo Godfathers. Yeah. I think he's trying to channel that, like, sort of like, you know, I'm queer and I don't give a gosh darn energy. And it just comes off as, like, a little bit like, oh, this is, like, an old Japanese man writing a, like, gay person who he's probably never met in his life. Yeah. I mean, I think the other thing that works is that inherently a lot of these One Piece characters can be a little bit unserious at times. Yeah. So, like... Even if it is slightly problematic at points, like, I think it works more for that, like, interpretation of, like, oh, I'm just wearing it on my sleeve. Like, I think that works more in this universe. If it was something like, I don't know, if it was a more serious manga series, I'd probably be more concerned. But I don't know. I don't think Oda had bad intentions here. But yeah, and for what it's worth, I don't want to just make this whole episode about the damn discourse. This is a delightful, like, scene and great character. Absolutely. I mean... I think it goes to show how much we love him that we're still like, oh, we love this guy. But despite these perhaps some slight problems. I mean, I think something I really appreciate is that Oda did a really great job of when he first copies Luffy, Usopp, Zoro, Chopper, and Nami. Yeah. He does like a face with all of them that makes it look like wrong. Yes. Like you go, that character would never make that face, and that's so like impressive. I agree. It's not only a testament to Oda's art, but it also just goes to show how well established these characters and their personalities already are. Yeah, like you never see Zoro do this big, goofy, like flamboyant smile. I'm looking at the page right now. Yeah. I'm just like, I think the fact that he's that both characterizes Bon Clay so well as someone who would like do that, and Zoro as someone who's just like would never do that in a million years. Yes, I agree. You never see Zoro doing the DreamWorks face, except for the lovely Lego minifigure. Oh, yeah. I think this is a crazy way to start the arc, but like it's also such an effective Chekhov's gun because you're like, wait a minute, this is going to come back later.
Exactly. I really appreciated that. I thought that was very fun. Yeah, and then soon after the Bon Clay incidents, as we like to call it, they arrived to lovely Alabasta.
Yeah, well, they sort of arrive at Alabasta and then immediately like leave and come back, which is a very, maybe not a good narrative choice, if I can be honest.
It's definitely it doesn't flow as well as it could have.
I think it's a very strange note to start the arc out on, especially because I think it's a bad tone setter.
Yeah.
Because we open up on like this is to go to my report card.
Yes.
My complaints were like, why we open on this arc with Ace and Smoker and then they do nothing.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, I think on the face of it, Ace and Smoker are definitely characters we got to talk about more. But it's definitely a little bit weird. It feels, in my complaints, I mentioned how the beginning is just not up to the same quality. And this beginning part just feels almost like a separate, like, mini arc. It almost feels like it's really a little transitionary period in between Drum Island and Alabasta.
I mean, yeah, because, I mean, it's really weird that we end genuinely, we end Drum Island on, there's a guy looking for you. His name's Ace. And then the next chapter is like, hi, I'm Ace.
Yes.
Here I am.
And he is a lovely character. But it's also very weird that they set him up to be like, oh, he's looking for Luffy. And then he finds Luffy, and then he doesn't really do much. I mean, he does some things, but, like, not a lot.
I mean, for what it's worth, I think the fact that Ace is in this chapter... Actually, it's a fun fact. The anime added some filler in which Ace hangs out with the crew for a while in Alabasta, which I think
that's
some people
fun.
like. I don't like it, because I think... I'm a purist. I just want them to adapt the damn manga.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea. Like, I do think, like, it's a pretty obvious narrative flaw that, like, Ace shows up... Like, Drum Island, like, ends on the cliffhanger of, like, who's this Ace guy? Immediately we open on, hi, I'm the Ace guy, bye. And it's like, oh, okay.
True. I mean, for what it's worth, they do introduce him very well.
Yeah, they characterize him great. I mean, oh, dude, I have to comment on this. Holy shit. I just had, like, a flash of thing. This manga is censored on the official Shonen Jump app.
Is it really?
So, fun fact.
Yeah.
I'm pulling this up right now. But when we first see Ace...
Yeah.
We see him, like, asleep in a pile of food. Do you remember?
I do remember that.
I'm going to send you a little picture of what that originally was. Well, let's just say the real knowers in the chat they already know.
Oh. That was not what I was expecting it to be, actually.
Well, it makes a lot of sense because for those audio listeners at home, it looks like our good buddy Ace is a fan of a certain famous German politician.
Oh my god.
Because Ace has a giant swastika on his back. But
oh, man.
For our Japanese cultural aficionados, that is actually a manji.
Yes.
Which is Sanskrit. It's like one of the oldest symbols in human history, and it means like the pursuit of happiness.
True.
And I'm gonna be real, the fucked up thing is I think it looks way cooler than Whitebeard's actual symbol.
It does.
It has got aura, I hate to say it.
True. I mean, I hate to ask about lore implications here, but actually maybe
there's
this
a reason
maybe
it's called Whitebeard.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is a dumb point, but Mihawk has like a bunch of cross symbols with him, and I guess I was assuming that because of the cross with the Whitebeard thing, then Mihawk is involved, but I guess they just chose a cross because it looked cool. Like, I don't know.
It's kind of like the Evangelion thing. Like,
Yeah.
how much of it was religious symbolism and how much of it was like, oh, it goes hard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was that's very funny.
That's not the last, Wesley, I'm going to tease you with something. That's not the last controversial world event that has impacted One Piece in this arc. In this arc.
When, I guess to kind of frame my cultural understanding, when was this arc being published in America?
In America, I don't know, but in Japan, it was in 2001, which will be important later.
I'll keep that in mind. I may have an idea as to when this might be coming.
You might.
Oh boy.
But in America, I don't even know when One Piece manga came to America. But when I first read One Piece, I swear to God, I saw it with the manji intact. Maybe I sort of, I don't know. I think they must have updated it recently because I read One Piece on the official Shonen Jump app TM.
Yeah, that is it's interesting to me because if I remember correctly, in Bleach, when they add the manji, they don't censor it in the Shonen Jump app. Or am I wrong there?
Mm-hmm. They do not censor it, I don't believe.
Yeah. So it's interesting that they did censor it here.
Yeah, Bleach has a lot of manjis in it.
It does.
I mean, dude, his Bankai literally has the manji as his handle.
True.
And it looks awesome. I mean, do you know that one very famous in the not famous, but like that really cool shot of the Fullbringer arc where he activates his Fullbring and it's like giant manji pops out.
Yeah.
They changed what the shape of his little manji is in the anime. They made it just like a giant plus sign. It's really funny.
It would have been funnier if they took more creative liberties and it was like a giant star or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let me send you the picture because it's also really funny. I really hope YouTube does not I'm going to add these images and YouTube's going to get mad.
True. This is definitely less aura.
I mean, considering, I'm sending you the base one, like, it's like going, like, it's like perfectly wrapped around him. It looks so cool.
I do just have to say that I love the Bleach manga art style very much.
I do too, man. I think Kubo is a god with a pen. I think he's easily in my, like, top 5 mangaka, like, artistes.
I couldn't agree more. And I for the record, I do think Oda, his art is pretty good here, but I absolutely agree.
I definitely think Oda's art, I mean, thinking back to, like, how, like, weird it looked during, like, Orange Town, it's kind of crazy how he really has found his art style here.
True.
Like, in my mind, I think this is, like, One Piece's, like, it's going to change more as we go, but, like, this is One Piece's definitive art style.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's, like, right here. I also got to say, he really went on a, like, tour de force of character design this arc. I think, not only to make the rest of Baroque works.
Yep.
But he also got to make, what's his name, Koza?
Yes,
the leader of the rebellion, Koza.
Yeah, I think Koza has a great design, and then Chaka and Pell also have great designs.
I think, dude, we're going to talk about Pell. Trust me, we'll talk about Pell.
We've got a lot to say about him.
Pell is a fantastic design. I think it might just because he looks eerily like Ulquiorra. Speaking of Bleach.
That's actually a great comparison that I was going to bring up. I had 2 characters that I was going to mention, and one of them I cheated and sent to you earlier, and then the other one was him.
I also want to shout out Oda drawing his first female character that doesn't look the exact same, and that's Mrs. Doublefinger.
Yes, true.
I was shocked. I was like, Oda, you found a second girl.
Oda loves that hourglass fit. People are going crazy for it in the big 2025, man.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I'll give Oda the credit of it makes more sense for, like, this very explicitly, like, femme fatale character to be, like, in, like, BDSM gear to have, like, more of an hourglass figure.
Yeah.
But at least she has, like, different hair and lips. Like, that's something.
That's true. There's a lot of...
Okay.
Yeah.
we're on, like, the damn problematic crusade here, man. True. One Piece went woke.
Just wait till you see the thumbnail for this one at home, guys.
Oh, yeah.
But I think reeling it back into Ace.
Yes, I was just going to say, we got to center back in on Ace.
Yes. I, quite frankly, looking through my lens of not knowing much about One Piece, I had seen Ace before. I had no idea that he was Luffy's brother. That was quite the reveal to me.
I think, for what it's worth, I was going to say, I was giving Oda a little shit for not having Ace. He just shows up and goes, hey, here's my, like, Vivre card. I forgot how to pronounce it. Vivre card?
I think so, yeah.
Bye. But he gets characterized so well. I mean, he literally rides on a ship that's a goddamn, like, fire-powered surfboard. That's awesome.
I know.
I think he easily has, like, my favorite or second favorite ship in the entire series. There's only one other one that I'm like, wow, that ship is cool.
Oh, nice.
Because he's just, like, he's just surfing.
Yes.
He's just chilling. And I think I've always been a big fan of Ace's design because, like, he looks like genuinely like an older version of Luffy. Like he's got more like little accessories and like
I know.
He's got a tattoo and a cool hat.
Yeah.
It's like just like Luffy's got a cool hat, but he's got like a necklace and
True.
a knife, and you're like in a bag. I have wanted Ace's bag for the longest time. That's like for years I've like wanted his bag.
It's so cool. He has aura, man. I'm especially a big fan of his smiley face and frowny face like goggles or like emblems on his hats.
Yes, I bought his hat at the con because I thought it was so cool, and it was like literally the most cheapest, shittiest hat I've ever gotten in my life.
That's not so cool. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's really funny. It was like genuinely like those were like safety pins, the little like smiley face, frowny face, and they were both smiley faces. They fucked that up.
That is tough.
It's really funny. I don't know what the fuck they're cooking.
But yeah, I think another great Ace moment is when he just firebombs all those other ships.
Yeah, he's like, oh, there's like 5 ships, and then just explode. And I was like, that wasn't really necessary. I think they're gonna get out of there just fine. But it was cool.
It was very cool. Power scalers are gonna have a field day with that moment.
They're gonna somehow this is gonna make him like small continent level.
Exactly. You could say he's got a bit of a Alabasta level power scale. You know?
Yeah, if you think about it, Ace actually could blow up Alabasta in one go if he really wanted. If he had one.
Exactly. Somebody's gonna, they're gonna call in the Navy, they're gonna call in the Marines. And speaking of that, I was delighted to see Smoker come back.
I was too, because I was like, God, I love that Smoker character. And then somehow, I think he doesn't do anything at all. At all.
Well, he does do one thing, and that's have the really cool weapon that is like made of the ocean, and it can like neutralize
sea stone.
devil fruit powers.
Yes. Okay, for what it's worth, I was giving Smoker a lot of shit, but the moment in which he's trapped with the Straw Hats in that cage was peak, and I was so happy he was there. I thought that was genuinely peak.
I loved the dynamic. It was so good. I mean, I don't like the fact that Smoker was just like taking a vacation at the end. Like, I didn't understand that at all, I'm not gonna lie. But something I did like is that because that it framed Tashigi, I believe that's her name.
Yes.
As like basically just the face of the Marines in this arc, which I really like that.
Tashigi got to be, I will say, we lost Smoker, but Tashigi got to be like cool and important and like still lose, but you know.
That's true.
Oda's a regular Kubo here. She's like, women in a fight. I can't have that.
True.
You know what, now that I'm thinking about it, Oda really likes to make women fight other women and not men, which I guess I get. But in theory, hey, I'm correcting that right now. The mole lady fights Usopp and Chopper.
She does, and she loses.
And she loses. Rightfully so.
But that's true. I mean, not to go on this, I don't want to make this too long of a tangent.
Yeah, we're tangenting it up right now, dude. We're indulgent.
But I think these are great little discussion pieces, you know?
Absolutely.
I think, part of my problem in Bleach, obviously, part of my problem with the portrayal of women in Bleach is just because it's just it can be a little bit problematic just generally, and also I love the characters in Bleach, especially a lot of the women characters, and I think it's just tough that they don't really have a time to shine. But I think another like narrative level issue that I take with it is that basically you can just assume then whenever there's a man and a woman fighting, you can just instantly know who's going to win the fight because the woman is going to lose, which I think is kind of a bad narrative tool.
A little bit.
So I think...
Well, you actually... Oh, Wesley, you did just read a fight where that was not true.
That is true. That's it. You are absolutely right. That's a great point. But you kind of see you get the... you know what I mean.
I see your point. I see. That's a very fair critique. And I think One Piece is not free from the sexism allegation.
Yeah. But I guess something that I do have to say is, like, at least... here, if Oda is going to be problematic, at least if he's putting a woman and a woman fighting, it doesn't necessarily have that narrative issue. It does have the issue of like we just kind of assume that the good guys are going to win, but we also see the good guys lose here. So I don't know. I think I don't know. This was a bit of a tangent, but like I think my bottom line here is that I actually think the combat is good. The fights are good.
We will talk about fights more because trust me, I got many thoughts.
Yes.
But I really quickly I don't want to just like go in the orchid's like straight order, but I do kind of want to like have some sort of structure to this.
Yes.
And I want to say I think the most underrated part of this whole damn arc is when they're traveling through the desert. I was very charmed.
I agree. I think there's a lot of great little moments there.
I think Luffy saying, "Haven't you heard that old saying? When you get hungry, you should eat." That like made me laugh out loud. That was a great bit.
It did. I agree.
There were a lot of great bits. I sort of mentioned that like one of my favorite things about One Piece is the sailing, and I think this is basically like a soft sailing moment. Like this is just them like problem solving and hanging out in a way that is fun and unique. It's just fun to see characters like talk like this and hang out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think to that point, I actually also think that this was the funniest arc so far.
I think I agree.
Because there's especially in this little deserts, these scenes, I think there's a lot of moments that I was laughing at.
Well, it's funny because it's also sandwiched in between like so much heartfelt stuff.
I know, because there's also, I mean, I think obviously there's the part when they arrive to that town with the older gentleman, but there's also that really interesting moments where Luffy is like, I quit, and then Luffy and Vivi have this like exchange of ideals, and I think that was actually a really, really great moment.
I was genuinely very close to... That was like my second or third runner-up for favorite moment in the arc. When Luffy's like, "You think you can just stop this without anyone getting killed? Yes. That's naive." I was like, whoa, who is this character? Whoa!
I know. I honestly think it's pretty striking, especially that panel where he just has people die. I thought that was a pretty striking panel.
I will say, I feel reading this was especially surreal for me because there's a gif in the anime of when Luffy punches Vivi has become a meme.
That's what.
But it's a shame because it's a genuinely great heartfelt like moment in which not only does it really solidify Luffy's resolve, but I think it's just a great character moment for both Vivi and for Luffy. I think Vivi, basically in every arc she's been in, has gotten great characterization.
I agree.
And I think her like kind of I would argue maybe it's a little too naive. I mean, that is like literally the moral being taught here.
Right.
But like I think Oda maybe paints a little too idealistic a portrait of like royalty here.
Yeah.
That's a critique I think many people have echoed recently because there's a big debate over like how political One Piece is, which is hilarious because some people say not at all.
That is funny.
And I think you guys are insane. Like, did you not read Drum Island? Or this arc right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, King... Oh, by the way, I didn't realize until this reread that his name is fucking King Cobra. I feel like an idiot.
That is a good guy.
I just always called him like Cobra. I never put it together. His name's fucking King Cobra.
True.
But I don't know, Vivi and King Cobra are like, they're just so like, we love giving away free money. And I'm like, okay, like calm down, Oda. Calm down.
True. I think I mean, not to like future vision and look ahead. I think it could be very interesting if we ever get like a contrast of like maybe a corrupt king or something like that to kind of.
I mean, we kind of did with
Drum Islands. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yep, I think that's.
By the way, one final point on this that's naive scene. Yep. I saw people on Twitter.
Yes.
Talking about this, and I want your thought.
The Everything app.
The Everything. Yeah, sorry, I mean X. I read exceed. I re-exceeded.
Exactly.
Elon Musk, brother, you're going to hell. Anyway, I think that there is an interesting discussion about these characters, and some people have put forth the theory that Luffy has survivor's guilt for what happened to Shanks all the way back in Chapter 1.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm looking for that ever since I saw that. I'm sort of looking backwards and forwards through what we've read, and I'm trying to see how like true that holds. And I wonder if this scene is sort of a reflection of that.
I could definitely see that. I mean, just from like a very baseline level, this is definitely I think this is kind of the most like brooding we see of Luffy, maybe so far. I think that's interesting. I honestly wish we kind of got more of this dialogue then, because I think that would maybe paint a better picture of that.
I definitely think seeing this more serious side of Luffy is refreshing, and as much as I do love him as like the silly man, I do like to see like what's really going on there in Luffy land.
True.
And don't worry, we'll see it. Don't worry. I'm not saying Luffy never gets like more serious moments.
Mm-hmm.
I was just grateful that we got this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now we can transition to talking about Koza, who I mentioned earlier, and I
Yes.
think is a great character.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think just on the face of it, I think Vivi and Koza's backstory was just very sweet. I thought it was cute.
I thought it was really humanizing for Vivi that she's like genuinely terrified that people would die for her. Like that really weighs on her, and I think that's once again a little idealistic, but it is like great characterization.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something I really appreciate in this arc is I think it's cool to contrast his younger self against the man he is now, because I think it paints a really interesting picture of like what this like decades long war and rebellion can do to you, you know?
Yeah, they really sell it with like I love the scene where that little kid comes up and he's like, I want to fight. And he's like, that line was like, we are afraid. None of us wants to do this. And I'm like, dude, that's so like raw. Holy shit.
I know. It's, yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, it's something I'm starting to pick up on more and more is maybe one of Oda's greatest strengths seems to be just characterization, because I feel like a lot of these characters, as soon as they're introduced, you basically get the gist of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, no, seriously. I think this is a great scene to just like immediately sell what his deal is.
Yeah.
Also, really quickly, I just want to comment on this because I once saw that. Have you ever seen the Christian Bale Batman movies?
I have.
I was once told that this arc has the exact same plot as the third one with Bane. But I've not seen that one. I've only seen the first two. So can you confirm?
I have seen that one, and I actually do see what they're saying. I mean, there's basically a big part of that movie is kind of this idea that's central to this arc of kind of espionage and tricking people into like the government's being one thing when they're actually not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's you know what? I think that's an apt comparison.
I mean, I think Oda having goddamn false flag operations in this manga shows that he knows political ball.
Absolutely.
For all my fans of CIA shenanigans out there.
True. I mean, I think this is definitely One Piece is at its most outwardly political, which I appreciate.
It just came off Drum Island.
True. I think, you know, it is interesting to note that I think there are a lot of I think Oda can sometimes brush with a pretty broad brush, you know, and I think maybe sometimes he paints a pretty idealistic picture, to use another painting metaphor. But I think this arc, Vivi and King Cobra do have pretty idealized versions of royalty. But I think something that Oda does do a great job at is that I think the actual day-to-day like warring and like government stuff in this arc is actually very realistic and grounded.
Yeah, Oda can. I think this is obviously at its most grounded because there's like no one has superpowers; they just have like guns.
Right.
But Oda can cook with this kind of stuff. He will do it again, and trust me, he can cook.
I definitely want to see more because I think this has definitely intrigued me the most on like a kind of like an academic analysis level, because I think there's a lot to unpack here about what Oda is trying to say about
absolutely
war and governments, and even things like trust and like connection. I think there's a lot that he's trying to say through this whole conflict.
I agree. I think it's really interesting how he's kind of using Vivi's characterization as like a vehicle for political thought.
Exactly.
And I just want to comment. I'm basically going through the structure of I took a bunch of screenshots and am now like reading off of them to be like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
There's a incredibly random panel on a page where, do you remember like the guy who's not Pell, who like is a bodyguard? He's got like the bowl cut.
Chaco.
Yeah. There's like a random page where he goes, we underestimated the king. He's far from beaten. And that was like a random meme on some very specific corner of the internet. I don't know who.
That's very funny.
Like, I want to say it was like back when I was a huge Kengan Omega reader. I want to say like that one random panel became a huge meme because I saw that and got like war flashbacks. I was like, that's from One Piece.
That's hilarious. Wow.
It was crazy. If anyone in our non-existent fan base like knows where this was a meme, like in what circle of the internet, please leave a comment because it made me nostalgic, but I couldn't place why.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Oh, and then my next screenshot is, by the way, I think genuinely the most impressive writing feat I have seen from Oda so far.
Yeah.
Was we start this arc out by wrapping up the storyline, the cover story of our good buddy Django and like Full Body.
Yes.
And then they fall in love with a female like Vice Admiral Marine.
Yes. And
then the end of the arc, they all show up.
Dude, I almost like called you when that happened. I was freaking out.
It's like the cover stories are the secret sauce for One Piece, man. They're goated.
I know. That was mind blowing.
If you were watching this, you wouldn't have seen any of this. You just would have seen him show up at the end. You're like, oh, he's a Marine now? That's weird.
That's
but
horrible.
Like when you're reading it, you're seeing his arc go parallel like to and then they get to be reintroduced. It's so cool.
I know. It's wonderful.
Also, them having like a giant disco boogie at his like he was gonna get executed and they have like a boogie nights moment. I was like, this is peak. What like once again, Django has stolen the show. Like the third arc in a row.
I know. I can't believe that. I also couldn't believe that like of all the characters to come back in this way, that Django was the first one. I was just laughing, man.
I've completely forgot that the guy with the like iron fist who Sanji beats up is like important again. I was like, what are we doing here?
I know. It's awesome.
But when that lady, I was like, oh, they're falling in love with the lady. That's funny. And then she came back. I was like doing backflips. I was like, what is going on? Oda is crazy.
I know. It's awesome. And I mean, just to jump on to the later cover stories, I thought Hachi the fish man. I was also loving that.
The Ray one, he doesn't get a cover story, but cute little Hachi does.
Exactly.
It's to help a mermaid.
True. I also just have to point out real quick, chapter 177, titled 30 million versus 81 million, which is a hard name, by the way. The cover illustration of Usopp sitting with a dog, and the dog and Usopp have the same outfit, might be one of the hardest things that Oda's drawn to date, I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like I remember screenshotting a chapter name in here, because I was like, fuck, he cooked with that. Maybe because, I don't remember, I can't find it.
I think, another very quick tangent, I think the naming of manga chapters is very interesting. Sometimes I feel
Kubo is the fucking goat of that, by the way.
Yes, exactly. I think Bleach is the best example of like great titles. And I think One Piece, I think what's interesting is that most of the time they just kind of whatever, and then sometimes they're so great that I'm like, oh my god, like I need to screenshot this. This is great.
Absolutely. Man, Oda, you know, I feel like it's crazy we've talked this much about like the prelude to the arc. We're not even like the arc proper yet, really.
I know. I mean, it just goes to show how dense this is.
In my mind, I feel like this arc starts with like them getting trapped in a cage by Crocodile. That whole like play of theirs.
True. Another like framing device I like is when they talk to the old man, and I really appreciate how that kind of bookends at the very end with how he finally gets to see the rain. I really appreciated that.
That did make me emotional. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
I think like that sort of commentary on like hope and like.
Yeah.
In both like the political and personal sense, and maybe even like a religious sense, because I remember there being like a bunch of crosses for graves, and I was like, is Oda trying to say something deeper with that too?
Interesting. That's true.
But the old man at Yuba, I forget what his name was, like old man something. I was like, you know what, man, this is a damn emotional tale. True.
It really is.
And then we get to go from that straight into the weird casino town, in which we have that great scene where. I love when, like, some of them get captured, and then we've got, like, the little, like, weird game they're playing where, like, Chopper says he's Mr. Prince and then runs away.
True.
And then we get the actual save by Sanji. That's, like, also my, like, second favorite moment of this arc. I thought Sanji saving the day was so hype and cool.
I think the reason Sanji is my arc MVP is because of that moment. I honestly think Sanji has been a little bit underutilized up to this point, but here I'm like, oh my god, Oda cooked. And actually, I wanted to screenshot and point out an exact quote because in this saga when Sanji shows up, Mr. 3 is there, and he has
Yeah.
a line along the lines of, I don't know who you are, to Sanji. And that line and panel is such a quick moment, but it genuinely like made me sit back and think for a moment. Because it kind of made me think that Oda might just be that goated that he used the narrative device that Sanji wasn't really active in Little Garden, and is actively using that for a joke and a hype moments. And I don't know, I think that kind of
genuinely.
I think that's sense of like using a weakness in a earlier arc to create an even greater strength later on. I don't know if I've ever really seen a storyteller like capture that this well.
Yeah, I remember when we were recording Little Garden.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, I'm disappointed in Sanji, what Sanji did here, and I was like, honestly, I was like happy with it, and I was happy with it because I think I like retroactively backfilled as like, no, dude, him like getting on the phone to Mr. Zero is actually a goated moment because it gets to. It's even important that Sanji didn't meet Mr. 2. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Oh yes, true.
Sanji didn't meet Mr. 2 and Mr. 3, so, like, he's now, like, this unknown, like, agent who can just get to, like, do whatever the fuck he wants while everyone else is fucked.
True.
It's great.
It's awesome.
And he's the only one they know he can't, like, transform into. It's awesome.
I know. I also just have to say that him with the glasses looks incredibly hard.
Yes, I love the Mr. Prince look.
Yes, it's so cool. That moment with the casino and the save is also great because we also have all that smoker, the smoker dialogue, which is very cool.
Yes. I love seeing the smokers bounce off these weirdos.
I know. And yeah, we get some great villain dialogue in these moments as well.
This is really off topic, but I'm looking at the screenshot in which Pell is fighting all the like random jobber pirates.
Yes.
And he says, tweet fruit falcon type. You're lucky to see this. Only 5 flying devil fruits are known to exist. That's very interesting.
That is very interesting. I screenshot that too because I thought that was an interesting line for him to say.
I think Oda is doing a great job. Every single arc we get like one like larger world like picture lore thing.
Yeah.
Like this arc is like, hey, there's this white beard guy. What's his deal? And like, oh, there's only 5 flying devil fruits. And I feel like that is like something that's like so Oda to me. Because like I know there's someone out there tracking like how many of the flying devil fruits have we seen as of this point.
That is very cool. I think just like a quick perspective piece is that I think it's very interesting. The devil fruits are not being used in a way that I anticipated at all. I've been shocked that we've seen so many different ones in the span of like the first few arcs. I
like how we go from like Buggy and then we don't see one forever.
Yeah.
And then we see Dalton
Yes.
and Wapol who have the weird like the most boring and most weird powers ever.
True.
And then in this arc there's like 900 of them.
I know. And they're almost all cool. Some are not cool, but they're almost all cool.
Which one is not cool?
I think the weird dog gun thing is...
That's the best part. That's like the best moment of the arc. It's not a dog who ate a gun fruit. It's a gun who ate a dog fruit. That's awesome.
I mean, I agree. I love that moment.
I didn't know that's possible.
I thought I made more like a hype moment in Aura, you know. I do love that moment though. Don't get me wrong.
It's dude. We'll talk about the Usopp fight, but I think that fight is like genuinely pure peak.
If that moment at the end wasn't so peak, man, like you absolutely know that fight scene would be my favorite moment. We'll talk about it more.
My jaw dropped in a like comedic manner when I saw that Usopp was not your goat or your favorite moment. I was shocked.
I definitely thought about having Usopp as my MVP. I was just like, man, I use him every time. And Sanji had this great moment here.
Sanji did just like him getting to like genuinely save the day.
Exactly.
It's so good.
It's peak. I mean, this is definitely my favorite Sanji moment that we've had so far.
I agree. This is just like. Also, I'm looking through my screenshots. Luffy doing the little Sanji impression was funny as hell.
True. That was very charming.
Oh, this is another that when he answers, I would love to know what he actually says in the Japanese version. But he goes, "This is restaurant le crap." I was like, I don't know if that's what does he say in the Japanese version? Because that's not as cool as like they're making it out to be.
I know.
Or also the other screenshot I took of like a weird translation. He goes like, "Don't be so full of yourself, fish bait." So that's Luffy, and Luffy goes, "Oh yeah, well you're a minnow," and I'm like, "What is happening right now? Why are you talking like that?"
I also screenshotted it because of the facial expressions that they're making. Genuinely makes it seem like they're saying something completely different than what the speech bubbles have. It was
They
like
genuinely sound like they're like trading. Yeah, like they look like they're saying like they're gonna kill each other, and they're just saying this corny ass shit.
I know. We have to make an edit that's like, this is not tough, man. This is not tough. Oda.
You are not him, buddy. You're not him.
Exactly.
Also, my one final comment on this section of like was just this section is like Pell gets absolutely fucking jobbered by Miss All Sunday.
True.
Who will be important later.
We'll definitely talk about her more.
I think she has the weirdest devil fruit we've seen by far, because I don't know what the fuck it is exactly.
I was kind of hoping that they explained it a little bit more in the future. Because I'm also...
I mean, they do, but why? She's like, "Oh, I have the flower fruit," and it's like, "Oh, obviously you can like make a bunch of limbs come out of anything. Obviously, the flower fruit."
Can she make any limb or just her arms? Because I think in this arc she only makes her arms, right?
She will eventually make a foot, I believe, but I don't think I've seen anything else than an arm and a foot.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not necessarily like gunning to see anything else. I guess I was just curious.
I mean, I guess arms are the most useful limb.
That's true, unless you're like trying to run in like a four-legged, like a sack race, you know, like a four-legged race.
Wesley, you're a pure soul. You're a dang good person, because I was like, I'm sure someone will do some weird ass freaky shit with this power.
That's absolutely true. I definitely have some more thoughts on her, but we can save those more towards the end. Because I think you know what I'm gonna say, but we can say that for later.
That was like the best arc ending we've got all One Piece.
Absolutely.
I want to highlight another thing that I loved about this arc, which is that Mr. 3 got to come back, and that's hilarious.
I thought it was I think this is one of the most cartoonish things that's happened in One Piece. I feel like that's such a cartoon-like reoccurring villain thing for this guy to come back.
He's like Dick Dastardly.
Exactly. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Have the Gorillas ever like done a bit with Dick Dastardly that feels very Gorillas cool?
It really does. I think the only cartoon that they've crossed over with is the Powerpuff Girls, which is surprising.
Girls with what's his face?
With Ace, funnily enough.
Yes. Oh my god! Oh my god! That's a YouTube short right there.
Exactly. Oh, also, I was trying to think back.
Also, I just found out that Ace's English voice actor's name is Jesse Hooker. Which just makes me laugh, I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Jesse, I'm sure you're a great guy. I'm sure you got made fun of for that name as a child. Don't worry about it.
They call him Mr. Hooker, man.
I've got to comment on one thing that I also was like blew my mind that Oda let this slip.
Yes,
There's a massive, massive plot hole in at the end of this casino segment.
What's that, sir?
Crocodile finds Mr. 3 floating in the water.
Yeah.
He has a devil fruit. He can't float.
Oh my god. That's a great point.
Yeah. No, I was like, dude, Oda, you're slipping. You're slipping. That's like the one thing. Devil fruit users can't swim or float.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy though.
I was disappointed. I was like, this is not the Oda I know and love.
Exactly. He had some high highs and he had that fumble, man.
Mr. 3, I remember I was very charmed by him and you were not, and I'm happy he was back again.
I don't know if this is a crazy take, but I honestly liked him more in this arc. I think maybe because they played him off as more of a comedic villain, I think he worked better for me here.
I honestly think that's a very, very fair point.
There's also a very funny screenshot that I'm looking at right now where Usopp is like grimacing and talking about how he can make a duplicate of the key, and there's like a thought of him in the background making it, which was very funny to me.
I mean, those wax powers are useful, man. What can I say?
You can make all sorts of things. I do have to say that there's another great Usopp moment here. I actually have a segment that I'm gonna pull out later that you're not ready for, man. But this is not in that segment. I just need to point out now. I don't know if this is a reoccurring gag, but there's another panel of Vivi pulling Usopp's by the nose and is like
Yes,
about to
yes.
rip off.
I saw that and I was cheesing. I was like, dude, they're doing it again.
I know. I was laughing pretty hard at that. That was great.
That's just Vivian Usopp's thing, man. They just do that.
True. Actually, another. Okay, this one I am gonna save for the segment later on. But there's another great Usopp moment. Fans of Usopp are gonna enjoy this.
Honestly, I think every Straw Hat got some great moment in this arc, which is fantastic. I think the one who
agree.
got like the worst off was Nami, and she still was like good.
I still. I mean, we'll talk more about that fight later, but I actually still really enjoyed that fight scene.
It was interesting. I'm not even saying it was bad. I'm just saying if I had to put someone who's like the least valuable player, it was Nami.
I think that's fair. I mean, I think it's definitely a great sign for this arc that, at the very least, every Straw Hat got to do something pretty cool.
Absolutely. That's why I appreciate the like longer time frame.
Absolutely. I think it might be time to talk about Mr. Crocodile. What do you think about that?
I was gonna say, I think we've been recording for an hour, and somehow I still feel like we're not even halfway through this arc. Am I crazy?
I know.
Let's talk about Mr. Crocodile, because this is the moment in which like we finally feel like we've got like direction. We're all going to the same place, and then Crocodile just yanks Luffy off the damn like giant land crab.
Exactly.
And it's goated, and we get to have our first like showdown with this guy, and let's just talk about Mr. Crocodile in general. What do you think of Crocodile, Wesley?
I loved him. I don't know. I don't really have any complaints with him. I think he was a very interesting character. I think, to put this in another way, I think something that I really appreciate about Crocodile is that a lot of One Piece villains up to this point have felt pretty cartoonish or in some ways generic. Crocodile, he feels very threatening to our characters. But on top of that, he also has like a very interesting and unique philosophy, which I think it's a pretty far jump to go from like Wapple to like Crocodile,
Yeah, Crocodile was basically trying to like become a power player in the world in a very like interesting way. Like,
yeah.
I think the other thinking through all of One Piece's villains, the only other one who's like grounded at all is Arlong, because he was like trying to create like a weird racial utopia for the fishmen.
True.
Or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And Crocodile's just like, I am already a warlord of the sea, and that is not enough. I am going to basically become like king of this country and become not like literally king.
Yeah. He's
going to become this like military powerhouse. That's so interesting. And like that's shockingly like interesting compared to like Wapple and all the, like Mr. 3.
I agree. I mean, I think another thing that just benefits him too is that like he has genuinely a fantastic character design. Like maybe the best villain character design so far by leagues.
I actually, in our art adventure, he was the last guy I drew, because I think his design is so like, he's like this weird like kind of Italian mob boss kind of like. He's got a giant cool face scar. He's got a hook hand, like a comedic pirate hook hand that's also poisonous for some reason.
You could say it's like a little striking scorpion weapon.
Oh, great reference.
Thank you.
But, I mean, by the way,
Yep.
I just remembered something. So, the stereotypical pirate getup, hook hand,
Yes.
peg leg, eye patch.
Yes.
Something very interesting that Oda has come out and said that you've got to hear. I don't know if he would have said it yet, but it doesn't spoil anything. Basically, to this day, there has never been a character in One Piece with an eye patch. Ever. Like, even where I am right now.
That's actually very shocking.
And the reason he said, once I have introduced the character with an eye patch, the series is about to end.
Interesting.
So, like, people have been, like, genuinely paranoid looking out for this, like, first eye-patched character.
That's very cool.
The latest chapter of One Piece, for my, like, fellow currently caught-up manga readers out there,
Yep.
the latest chapter was absolutely mind-blowing, and people thought we had met the eye-patched man. But I think no, because it was just someone who had, like, bandages over their eye. That's not quite the same.
Yeah.
One Piece is going crazy right now, week to week. Like, we're getting insane reveals.
We gotta read quick, man. I'm dying to learn more.
But speaking of Crocodile, I think he's. I put in my little report card that he is our first great villain.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I think he also has what seems to be the most threatening devil fruit ability so far.
Yeah, dude, the sand powers. I mean, him just being able to touch you and immediately like dehydrate you. How do you even beat that? That's ridiculous.
I know the mummification ability is both very funny and it's genuinely like scary. It's cool.
Yeah, he's like. I think this is easily like the most terrifying villain we faced so far because like he beats like Luffy shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna punch you real good," and then he just stabs Luffy with the chest. And it's like, "Yeah, you're not shit, buddy. You're nothing."
And that's a great grim image as well.
I think that's like another honorable mention for it's like that one shot of Sephiroth killing Mario.
I was gonna make that reference, man. It's true.
I don't know, man. Luffy just like stabbed through the heart is crazy, and I don't know how Luffy. I'm gonna be real. I have no idea how Luffy just like was fine after that.
I know. Maybe this is another One Piece, perspective of a non-reader, but I've seen artwork of Luffy with a big old scar on his chest. And I was like, oh man, is this where it happens? But I think somehow he just like heals with no scar from this.
I'm gonna be real. I thought it was a little silly that like I know he gets like pulled up by Miss All Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was kind of crazy that he's like, oh, I just like had some food and now I'm fine. And I'm like, dude, you don't have like a fucking like carotid artery anymore. What are you talking about?
I know. It's like video game logic.
It was. I mean, it was like, oh, wasn't a headshot, so he's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like Simon Belmont just eating like a giant chicken and then restoring his fucking health bar.
Exactly. I will say right after this, one of maybe my second or third favorite moments is this great 2 pages where we get a narration of those who lament war, those who fight, those who incite war, those who knowing the truth want to stop it. Their hopes are about to collide. I thought that was like one of the best moments.
That was very peak. I completely agree. I didn't screenshot that, but I remember like getting chills from that moment. I don't know why I didn't.
It's very cool. I don't know. I think it says a lot about Crocodile as well. That he's like this character that wants to incite war. Like that's how Oda is characterizing him, which I think is very interesting.
Crocodile's just so cool, man. I think he was almost my arc MVP, honestly. Like I think he was such an effective villain. I think he doesn't have that like super personal aspect of like Nami, like in Arlong, where like you're like, oh fuck, we gotta kill Arlong.
True.
Like in theory, he's fucking with Vivi, but like you know.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But like his design is cool. He just feels so like effective in every role. Like as a mastermind, like I love how he had like so many contingencies. Like even after they like disarm the bomb, he's like, oh yeah, but like the safety will go off. Like the bomb's still gonna go off. Don't worry.
True. I thought that was a great moment.
Or the fantastic moment which he just stabs Robin through the chest.
I know. That was also great. Maybe this points to like me being a bit of a dork, but I think a bit of a test that I use if a character really has staying power for me is like if this character was in a fighting game, like would I be dying to play as him? And I think for Crocodile, I definitely would.
I would be dying to play as Crocodile.
I know.
Dude. Oh my god.
He's I don't know, man. He's just got that presence.
I think of all the characters we met so far, Crocodile would probably be the character I want to play most in a fighting game.
Oh, absolutely. Because he's got so many, I don't know, I think, like you said, he's got so many contingencies, but he's also got so many, like, little abilities. Like, he's got the sand power, he's got the dehydration power, he's got the big old hook.
The poison hook?
The poison hook. He's just got so much to him.
Aye, that be me hook.
Exactly.
The hook really adds to it, man. I think if he didn't have the hook, he wouldn't be the same.
True. The hook and the scar, for sure.
The scar is so cool. But Oda really did a great job drawing the sand. Is that weird? Like, I think, like, he really sold the sand powers.
I agree. I think, I can't find the screenshot right away, but there's a great panel of his face, like, going away with the sand, and I thought that was a very striking piece of artwork.
I'm very excited to see how they animate this in the One Piece remake, the One Piece anime remake, which I'm very excited to watch.
That would be cool. I honestly kind of want to check out some of these episodes in the current anime because I'd just be curious to see how they handle some of these moments.
Well, Wesley, thank you for reminding me of that because when we get to the end of this episode, I've got another clip to show you.
Yes. I'm very excited.
That I forgot about, so I'm happy you remembered that. Enough of Crocodile for now. We also get this great double-page spread of everyone going, too bad, which made me smile.
I absolutely love these pages, man. They're great.
I love how every character gets to have such a great, like all their expressions, like, sell them really well.
Yes.
And also the fucking camel.
I know. Oda Cooks, man. This is a great spread.
Man, I gotta say, going back through this arc, it is a really, really structured arc.
It really is.
We enter the port, and then we leave the port, and then come back in a different place, and then walk through the desert, and then find a town, and then walk some more, and then go to a casino, and then get trapped in the casino, and get rescued from the casino. And I was like, dude, we barely started the arc. And now I'm like, wait a minute, we're starting the final battle right now. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know. It's I feel like the build up to the final battles, the pacing is very weird. Not necessarily bad, but it's just very odd.
I would love to see some behind the scenes from Oda on like how exactly he was cooking this shit.
Yeah.
I do love that. I think it is a fantastic moment that like the Mr. 2 Usopp fake out is peak.
I agree. I was cheesing at those moments.
I mean they bring back the little like armband thing. It's like the Chekhov's gun payoff for him meeting them earlier. They bring back the armband thing, which comes back again at the end of the arc.
True. I also absolutely adore the panel where he reveals that it's Bon Clay and his face, like the shadows are so good.
Yes, he's gotten really good at cross hatching.
True.
Sorry, I'm just looking through my screenshots and I'm seeing the fucking dog, the dog gun.
Yes. I just really like Bon Clay, so I thought that was a great I think that's a great little reveal.
Yeah, and then we get to go see him fight Mr. Sanji.
True. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thrilled to talk about all these little fight scenes, though.
We are now in the major, I think this is like the real meat and potatoes of this arc.
Yes, for sure.
Which is the Straw Hats have all split up and are now fighting the members of Baroque Works.
Yes. I have a lot of thoughts about each of these fights individually. I think something that works as a framing device here, we talk quite a bit about fights, like big shonen war arcs or big fights like this, of how sometimes it doesn't work for each party to be separated. But I think it actually kind of works here with how they frame it.
I agree. I think it really feels like the commanders are fighting the commanders while trying to stop this civil... Because I think the fact that the Straw Hats are trying to stop this war by taking out one side makes it feel a lot more natural than just like, the commanders fighting the commanders.
Exactly.
I mean, the very first fight we get is one that I think you gotta take the lead on, because it's Usopp and Chopper, your two ghosts, fighting Mr. 4 and Mrs. Mole Man.
Absolutely. Yeah, if that last panel that we both love wasn't so good, this would definitely be my favorite moment, man. I think there's not a single thing that I'd change about this, but also this fight scene just has so much of Oda's personality. Like, it's insane. We get Lasso, the weird gun that has a slight cold, which is a great gag. Mrs. Mole and the other guy whose name I can't remember are like the funniest. Oh my gosh, actually, it's a baseball guy. And you know I love baseball aesthetic.
True.
Like baseball stuff put into other media. And I forgot that this guy, he's like a baseball guy, and then the mole lady. And then they fight Usopp and Chopper in like the most comical fights ever. It's, dude, I was like,
they're literally
pumping
playing
my
whack-a-mole.
fist.
Like, Jesus Christ.
I know. I think Usopp's giant hammer is a great moment. Like the fact that he's so committed to this like gag of lying is so good. But then we get to see the other side of Usopp too, when there's a Mortal Kombat fatality like close-up frame of his like skull getting shattered, which was insane.
Yes. That was also like almost an honorable moment for like the art. I was like, holy shit, dude.
I know. But yeah, we get there's like two sides to Usopp as a character, like the goofiness and then like the real earnest desire to be a hero. And when he's like bruised and bloodied and with his like nose broken, but he's still standing and like trying to be a hero and giving Chopper the opening, it's like, it was a chilling moment, man. I absolutely loved it.
First of all, I want to say that Chopper adds to this fight so much because he just believes everything Usopp says, which is hilarious.
It is. There's another panel of when Usopp is holding the giant hammer and Chopper's like eyes are like shooting out of his skull and he's like, "That's awesome."
Yes. This really is an Usopp fight with Chopper supporting more than like an actual Chopper fight, which is maybe bad, but I think Usopp needed this. This is such a fantastic moment, dude.
I agree. It's it definitely calls back to his Arlong Park fight, but I think this one fleshes out the like the nuances of his character much better.
Oh yeah.
And I think
instead of him just like being a coward, he gets to be like just a straight damn hero.
Absolutely. And I don't think I screenshotted this, but if I remember correctly, I do think Chopper gets to use some of his different forms here, right?
Yes, he does. It was very cool.
Yes. So, like, I agree. Chopper's definitely not... this is definitely the Usopp show, which I love the Usopp show. In fact, in just a second, I have a little tangent, but I agree that this is more of a Chopper side story, but I think it works here. I was so tickled pink by this Usopp stuff that I have a new segment that we have for the show. Man.
Okay.
It is great moments with Usopp, and I'm going to highlight some great gags with Usopp. I think here are my top 4 gags. Wait, top five Usopp gags. My first one is when he gets the Mortal Kombat skull brutality, because I'm just shocked that Oda drew it in that way. It's very funny. I love when later on they show Usopp's mouth as a megaphone. I thought that was like the funniest gag I've ever seen. It's hilarious that because of this fight, Usopp ends up in a full body cast like Squidward. I love earlier on, I was going to mention this, but I saved it for the segments. He does this thing where he's talking about the giant crab and his eyes turn into crab eyes. And then my 5th point will lead into the Nami fights. But I think the fact that Usopp's goofiness just serves to make Nami look cooler later on is yes. I think that's a great like character balance between the Straw Hats.
I'd like to say honorable mention to the one really funny face he makes where his mouth is just so open, and then I'll send it to you right now. But his like jaw is agape, and his like hand is over his face, but his mouth is so big it's just like doesn't matter.
Yes.
That's a great
I love
expression.
that battle. Yes,
Please send me all the screenshots you're referencing, by the way, so I can put them in the episode.
I will. Let me I'll collect them as we start to talk about the next lovely fights.
I will say, I think Usopp being like, I don't care what you say, Luffy's gonna be the king of the pirates is genuinely just so peak.
Yes, that is like an S tier moment for me.
Like, genuinely. I think this is so, like, I mean, him just getting back up, like, skull broken to be like, I'm not gonna let you make fun of his dream, like, it chills. Genuinely chills.
I agree. It's so good.
And, you know what, speaking of hilarious gags, I know you were trying to transition us into Nami, but it's actually Mr. 2 versus Sanji next.
Yes, you're right.
But, it opens with a hilarious gag of that guy being like, I'm gonna be as ugly as possible, and then it's just Usopp's nose on his normal ass face.
True. That is wonderful.
That gave me a hearty chuckle. I think Oda's expression work here is crazy strong.
Absolutely. I think I honestly think he does it great across the board. I think Usopp is definitely like the greatest example of that, but I think all the characters have great expressions here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I love Sanji in this arc, but I think his gag of being hopelessly in love is not as funny as Usopp's like gags are.
I agree.
Like, I think the gag of initially the gag of Mr. 2 thinking Sanji's like the coolest guy ever is hilarious.
That is very funny.
And I think the gag of him turning into Nami and then he's defenseless is like less cool. It's like less funny. It's not 0% funny, but it's not like hilarious.
I agree. It like made me smile, but I wasn't like actually chuckling when I saw that.
I mean, another art appreciation moment. That moment where they have like the 2 crossing like kicks.
Oh yes, that is some
peak.
Yes, absolutely.
I think this is another fantastic fight. I love when he has like the weird little swan shoes that like can poke holes into steel.
I know. I thought that was very funny, but it worked very well.
I think this is another solid fight. I think it's not as standout as Usopp's just because Usopp's is so fucking like intense. But I think this is another great fight with. I think honestly the character work is what goes so well here because Mr. 2 gets to be hilarious.
Yes.
Sanji gets to be cool.
Yeah.
And there's the fantastic ending moment of him being like, you know, like them having like a brotherhood friendship moment.
True. I agree. I think the fact that Sanji's moments earlier was so good, it kind of balances out here where I'm like, it's okay that it's not as good, you know?
I mean, I still think this is like a solid fight.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like an A tier. I still enjoy it quite a bit.
I love the panel of him walking away from Mr. 2 and he's like, looks like I broke a few more bones. I'm like, damn, that's hard.
I agree. That is good.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm always a sucker for the trope of like enemies to like friends.
Yes.
Like through the respect of martial combat, I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I agree. It's yeah. I think this Oda guy knows what he's doing, man.
You know what? I'm going through, and the next fight we get is indeed the Zoro fight, actually.
Oh yes,
But
yes.
I want to shout out the One Piece live action.
Oh, interesting.
Because they do some interesting stuff where they like backfill stuff from further in the series to the East Blue. And one of them is we actually see, like, the ending stinger of the season is like, we have to, I don't remember exactly how it works, but it's like, we have to fight Baroque Works.
Okay.
And Zoro goes, Baroque Works? I remember when I killed, like, Mr. Seven. And then we see him go fight and kill Mr. Seven, which they talk about in this arc. And I was like, that's so cool.
That is great. I was going to say, because they had that little dialogue, which I thought was interesting, but that is actually a very cool update.
I think that was actually a change I agree with and thought was cool.
Yes, I agree. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably, I think Usopp's was an S tier. I think Sanji's was probably an A tier, but I think Zoro's is also an S tier.
Yeah, this fight is short and sweet.
Yes, and your art appreciation was almost the moment that I chose for art appreciation, because I think that finishing shot is so cool. But
It's so cool.
Also, I think this fight genuinely has the writing that stood out to me the most of all of One Piece so far. And I think specifically the line that really stood out to me is right at the end of the fight, when Mr. One is falling down and he says, "Are you going to cut through Diamond next?"
Yes!
And Zoro's like, "That would be such a waste." And then Mr. One just laughs and says, "You got me." That's probably my favorite line in all of One Piece so far.
I think that gave me... I think it's unreal how much that, like... That's, like, genuinely just, like, salt on the meat. Like, it makes the dish.
Absolutely. 100%.
I think without that line, this fight is not even half as damn good.
I agree. It definitely... that line is definitely doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think something that I've really started to look into more for art and fighting is, like, pose work versus the flow of the action. And I think this fight is definitely a great example of, like, great posing for the characters.
Absolutely. I mean, there's another great shot where, like, he's... I think it's interesting how it's basically just, like... It's so short because, like, Zoro can't do any damage to him. And the second, like, Mr. One gets in, he just, like, annihilates all his organs.
True.
And then it's just immediately like, okay, well, now I'm going to just slice you in fucking twain.
Yeah.
With, Shishi Sun Sun. Which is the anime. Like, I've always remembered, like, Zoro's voice actor is a great performance. Like, this is a very cool moment in the anime, too.
I've got to check that out.
That wasn't the clip I wanted to show you, but it is good.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a great fight, man.
It is really cool when he's like, I knew where all the stones would fall. I can hear, like, the voice and everything. It's like, whoa.
That is very cool.
Okay, man.
It's, I feel like this is definitely some of the most interesting Zoro characterization we've gotten in a minute. He's had some good characterization earlier, but, actually, now that I'm thinking back, Little Garden had some great moments too. So maybe Zoro's just consistently good.
I think he's pretty much like one of Oda's favorites for sure.
Yeah.
I also want to say there's a brief moment in between here, which is when Crocodile asks what Pluton is.
That is an interesting moment.
And it's very interesting to me that Pluton is mentioned this early in the series, and it's even more interesting to me that we still don't know what Pluton is in Big 25.
I was gonna say I'm very excited to learn more, but it's very interesting that it's still not revealed.
Pluton is kind of a like endgame mystery, man. I'm not gonna lie, which is crazy.
Wow. I mean, it is a weapon, right? Like I think, or it's like an energy source. I was a little bit confused.
I think it's purposely vague.
Oh, okay.
Honestly. But, I mean, I think something about One Piece that I'm very excited to get into with you is that Oda is kind of a fucking psycho and is, like, doing a lot of setting up and paying up in the background. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest sort of examples I can give like while being vague.
Yeah.
Is people have sort of questioned like, all right, Pluton is really important endgame, and we know nothing about it.
Yeah.
How does that tie into like Alabasta as a country being important to like the grand lore of One Piece and stuff? And I'm trying to be vague, but it's very interesting that like Pluton being here is not an accident. So like, what does that mean? How does Alabasta tie into like the greater story?
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing that I've definitely start to think about here is like, do we ever see more of like the history of this like world of One Piece? Because I feel like there's I'm trying to think of like a good comparison here, but I think something that really fascinates me is that it feels like this world has a lot of history to it, and I definitely like to learn more about like how some of these things came to be, you know?
No comment.
Fair enough.
I think we see the Nami fight next, or maybe right before this.
Let me see. Oh, it's right after Sanji.
Okay, so whoops, we skipped the Nami fight.
It's here's what I'll say about the Nami fight. I am actually going to defend it and say that it's my third S tier fight of this bunch.
Whoa, I was gonna say it was like pretty easily my least favorite. That's crazy.
And trust me, I do really enjoy Sanji and Bon Clay, but I think there's something so satisfying here. Well, first of all, I think it's very funny, like I mentioned before, that Usopp is just like making this gag like party favor basically,
Yes.
and Nami's like trying to figure it out while she's fighting. But I also think
that was genuinely very funny. That was a great gag.
Absolutely. But I think it actually gives Nami some hype moments in aura. I'm not gonna lie. I think this weapon is actually really cool to me. I think that's part of why I like it so much.
Yeah, well, it's cool because she's like the not only is she like their navigator, she's like the weather expert. Like there's that whole bit in Drum Island with the tornado, and like she's the one who knows about the dance powder at the start of this arc.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, the fact that she gets a cool like weather themed power that goes off of her like intelligence and like understanding of like high pressure and low pressure, it was like whoa, this is so like. It informs us of her personality so well.
Exactly. I think, yeah, I agree with all that. I think the there's a moment that's maybe a little bit cheesy where she does the cool like mirage thing again, where it looks like she's about to get hit and she's like actually behind the villain.
Yes.
And she's like describing it like it's a weather report, like, and now for today's weather, humidity and wind are both moderate and all this other stuff. And I actually really liked that and thought it was very charming.
This is a very charming fight. I think Miss Doublefinger is pretty forgettable, like aside from looking kind of cool and unique.
Yeah.
She gets to be cool. Like Nami gets to be cool with her cool weather power.
Yeah.
And Usopp gets to be funny again, like, and important again.
Exactly. I mean, maybe I'm just a sucker for Usopp, and I'm like just happy that somehow he got to be in this fight too. But I don't know. I think this is genuinely. I mean, I don't want to be over dramatic, but this might actually be up there as one of my favorite Nami moments we've seen so far too.
That's fair. This is a solid Nami moment. That is very fair. I mean, like when she like kicks the like her like spiky head and like the spikes go through her foot so she can get that attack in. I was like, ooh,
that is cool.
Ooh.
I think the Straw Hats all have a lot of perseverance, which I really appreciate.
I think Oda really, and I do too, really appreciates like getting knocked down and getting back up again.
Absolutely.
It's a very powerful storytelling tool. Now, we get to the main course.
Yes.
Which is, by the way, the moment in which Luffy saves Vivi by showing up on Pell? On Pell, right? Or just on a bird?
It's on one of the, like the duck force that they recruits, I believe.
Yes. And in that scene where he goes like, I can hear your voice.
I know.
That shit like gave me, that was hype moments and chills, man.
Absolutely.
I was chilled.
I was so hyped seeing that. It was so good.
For all my knowers in the chat, this also is a very powerful moment. For all my people caught up. But
that's very suspicious.
He doesn't know what that means, so he doesn't know anything. But Luffy putting together that like liquid like water is what can make you touch crocodile. Such a cool ass moment.
I know. Him
beating the shit. That double page spread of Luffy socking crocodile is awesome.
That low key, that could be my fave moment or art appreciation. I love that. That art.
I just realized that you see the cigar flying out of his mouth too. That's so cool.
I know. And then right after that, we get another great art moments when he's like, now I can hit you. And like the posing that he's doing with the water dripping off,
Yes.
it just looks so cool.
Yes. And also the gag of water Luffy is hilarious.
That is a great gag. I appreciate the balance of comedy. And I think this arc balances the comedy and the action very well.
I will say, Nico Robin watching this fight and laughing, aka Miss All Sunday,
Yes.
is really like Oda's starting to be like, whoa, she's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
We can talk more about Nico Robin later.
Well, that should be like our final discussion topic.
But I definitely want to remember to talk about her because I have some thoughts. But I agree. I really appreciated that in this fight.
She's like a weird point of levity.
True.
I don't know why, but I like when Crocodile calls Luffy Water Luffy.
That is very funny.
He says, "Do you think you can defeat me like that, Water Luffy?" And I'm like, "Don't. That's not his name. Don't call him that."
I know. I also love when Luffy's like, he's trying to find Crocodile again, and he's like, that hole looks crocodile-ish.
That is funny.
I think, I don't remember if we had this conversation on the podcast or off, but we were talking about battle shonens, and you mentioned that One Piece is one of your favorites. And I was like, I don't know if what we've read so far I really see like the battle shonen elements, but this arc I 100% do. And like the fight between Luffy and Crocodile definitely feels like it's very battle shonen-y, but like in a good way.
Yeah, it's like it still has that cartoony goofiness of like Water Luffy, but it has the hype moments and aura.
Exactly. It's everything you could want, honestly.
I know. And then we get to have Tashigi fight Nico Robin and lose badly.
True. I did not screenshot moments from that because I don't know what to say. I apologize.
I just thought it was funny.
I-
And then we also have that funny bit of Usopp doing an impression of Crocodile. That was another fantastic bit.
That was another great Usopp moment.
Usopp's got the king of the bits, man.
He's-
king of the slam.
He's also got the moment later on where, like, Nami throws the weather stick, like, at his crotch, and then he, like, sneezes, and he uses that to, like, rocket upwards. And that's when he's in the Squidward full body cast. I was, like, crying at that moment, I'm not gonna lie.
Usopp is really... God damn, Oda's cooking with this character, man. How do people not like him?
I know, it makes me more and more sad every day, man.
Like, every arc he gets better, and like, I'm more confused why people don't like him, man. What the hell?
Exactly. These bits are too good, man.
But we also... This is the moment in which Crocodile just beats Luffy a second time.
True.
Which I think narratively is insane. Oda's insane for making them fight 3 times in one arc, and Luffy only beats him on the 3rd damn go-around. That's
True.
awesome.
I really like that.
I gotta say, that hook to the chest is not very effective, buddy. You gotta get that looked at.
True, maybe they should put like a spear or a cannon or something better on his arm.
Put a buggy bomb.
Absolutely.
I do love that, like, that this is another honorable, like, mention for the art, is this when he, like, rips, like, he just, like, puts his hook in her and then, like, rips it out. I was like, ooh, that looked like it damn hurt.
True.
Like, I was like, ooh, that's an injury.
True. I will say one complaint I have about this arc, looking back through the screenshots right now, is that I feel like it's very tight when these battles happen, and I feel like it loses some of that tightness after the battles end.
I think that's a very fair point. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a very weirdly paced arc. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. I think we got to talk about the Pell moments that we briefly talked about off podcast, where so they finish all the battles, or at least most of the battles, and they're trying to defuse the bomb. And then Pell is willing to sacrifice himself for the bomb. And then he blows up, but then later it turns out that he actually survived, like taking a nuclear bomb to the face.
So this is one of the most memed moments in all of One Piece. Like, people love to make fun of Oda for this. Like, Pell's sacrifice is beautiful and touching.
Exactly.
I think it's like the great cap to his and Vivi's arcs.
Absolutely.
And then we just, at the very end of the arc, he just is like, oh, and by the way, he's alive, which is mind-blowingly stupid to me.
I know.
And the reason that is, I swear to God this is true,
Okay.
is 9/11.
Oh my god.
This arc finished in, like, December of 2001, And Oda thought that having a big bomb and a big tower and a big bird blow up was just like a little too uncomfortable and a little too sad. So I swear to God this is true. He just is like, you know what, Pell just gets to come back because of 9/11 because it's too sad.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie, man. Of all the ways, I kind of forgot that he said to be on the lookout for that callback later. I forgot that you mentioned that, and the fact that that's how it comes back full circle is insane to me.
It's really funny. I think Pell is a cool character who had a great death scene, and then he just gets to like be alive, and it's no one. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
I kind of put it up there with from my Evangelion heads out there. What's his name? Like Shoji, the guy who plays the Black Eva.
Is it Toji?
Is it Toji? That's funny.
No, it's Toji.
That guy lives somehow from like literally getting like atomized.
True.
And as far as I'm aware, that was straight up like censorship. They wanted to kill him, and then like the TV was censored. Like you can't just like atomize this little boy.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, he just lived without a leg. Like he's perfectly fine.
True.
And in my mind, I'm like, look, in Evangelion canon, he's dead.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Like, don't worry about it. It doesn't change. Like notably, they're like, wow, he's fine, and then never show him again because he's supposed to be dead. He's dead. Just treat him that way. That's how I treat Pell. It's like he's supposed to be dead. He's dead.
I think that's very fair. Yeah.
Now, if in 10 years Oda brings Pell back as like a big moment, I'll kill myself. But like in my mind's eye, Pell is just dead.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I don't know, man. I take issue with some of this like bomb stuff, not for the reason that the general population did in 2001, I suppose. But like, I'm just not really a big fan of this. Like, I think it's cool for Crocodile that he does have these contingencies, like we mentioned earlier. But I think it is a little bit sloppily handled. I guess.
It feels like it feels so like amateurish, like in the way he's trying to like ratchet up the stakes last minute. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm not necessarily opposed to some of the ideas at play there, but like it's far from perfect.
Well, I mean, the one thing I will say is that this final battle between Luffy and Crocodile, like their third fight, is their best one by far.
Absolutely.
I think the art is incredible. I almost made my favorite art moment when he's like decking Crocodile in the damn face.
I know. It's so cool. Using the blood is great.
Yes, that's so hard.
It is. I love the conclusion of their fight when King Cobra's like, "You have my thanks," and Luffy's just like, "It was nothing." I love that moment. It is great.
I love that moment when she says "it's over" because it reminded me of the meme, like where it's like "it's so over, we're so back." Like
true. That is very funny.
I like when Luffy just straight gets poisoned and then just muscles through it somehow.
True. That is very cool.
And I also like when he just like puts his damn foot on the hook and smashes it. I think that's such a cool moment.
Yes, that's also great.
I think moments like that are what make fights. Like where you can like tell something is like changed.
Absolutely.
Like that's a moment. That's a damn memorable moment.
Yeah. I agree.
And this brings me to the clip that I wanted to show.
Oh, yes.
So the very final giant like barrage of punches.
Yes.
That Luffy does to Crocodile. That in the anime was really well handled and cool because they add a really cool like classical music piece over it. And I think it rocks.
Oh, interesting.
I love that clip.
That is awesome. Does the One Piece anime use more classical pieces like that? Because that was an inspired choice. Really?
Never. Like ever. This is like the only time they did it, and I think it was I hope the remake keeps it because I think it's genuinely like a fantastic choice. Yeah. I can't read this fight without thinking of that moment.
That is sick. Yeah, that was awesome.
Whenever I hear that song, I think of Luffy just beating the shit out of Crocodile.
Yes.
That's kind of the end of the arc. I mean, we get some cool wrap-up stuff that we'll talk about, but like that's the dramatic finish.
It is. Yeah, something I do appreciate is that I feel like this it would have been very easy for a creative to kind of take their time and like really relish in the ending, and in like the closing stuff. But I really appreciate the fact that Oda does it pretty quickly while still accomplishing everything he needs to. Like it doesn't feel like overly long.
We gassed up the damn Django moment already. Don't worry.
Yes. Django's great. I love all the like callbacks. Like we get stuff with Koza, we get stuff with the old man. I love all that stuff. And then the big stuff, of course, also really works for me. Namely all the VV stuff that we see.
The Bon Clay stuff is peak.
Absolutely. I was actually surprised that he came back in the end like that, but I'm not complaining because I thought it was very fun.
I mean, goddamn it, he was cooking.
I agree.
Also, the absolute funniest panel in all of One Piece is in this like post Alabasta like section, which is look at the top right one here.
That is great.
Her forehead is so big.
It's never like that anywhere else.
No, it's so funny.
That is awesome.
Why does she look like that?
You know that movie, The Eggheads? It's got some big like egghead vibes there.
It's so fucking funny, dude. You could literally fit an entire other face on her forehead. It's terrifying.
I know. And then I like how in the next like panels we see her forehead and like, sure, I guess it's a little bit big, but like it's not nearly that big.
Yeah, it's not like fucking freakish. Like Jesus Christ.
I know.
I'd burn this woman at the stake for being a witch if I saw her.
Vivi, when she's in her princess like gown at the ends, her face looks a little bit different than it does throughout the rest of the series so far, and it's more visually distinct from Nami, which I appreciate.
That's a privilege, man.
I agree. It wasn't that bad in this arc, but like there's still even moments in this arc where I'm like, Oda, you could draw them a little bit more different.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell who's who sometimes. Wesley, we have basically two giant moments to talk about at the end.
Yes.
Here, which is Vivi's send-off and the joining of Miss Nico Robin.
Yes.
But I have to ask.
Yes.
Now that we're done with Alabasta as a saga, What did you think of Vivi? What is your character review of, like, this is someone we got to see, like, their beginning and their end?
Mm-hmm. I think that's an interesting question. I mean, my gut reaction is that I really liked her. Honestly, I'd go so far as to say is I think I liked her and like her as much as I do any of the Straw Hats. I think her characterization is very interesting. Like, we talked a little bit earlier about kind of the naivety of her character, but I think it works well, especially in the context of this ending, where to me I kind of read it as like this, I don't know, I feel like saying like it's kind of a coming of age thing. Is actually, you know what, it does fit because she actually does go to the coming of age ceremony at the end, but I think like a great way to read all of this is that it really, to me, comes off as like a coming of age narrative for Vivi, where like she is growing up and seeing these horrors, and then still, despite that, she decides to like use her resolve and lead her people in the way that she wants to.
And she basically goes on like the perfect archetypical hero's journey.
Exactly. That's actually a wonderful point. Yeah, true.
And maybe you could argue that she should have played a slightly bigger role as like a fighter, but I think her role as like princess is well done. And I mean, it's shocking that like this is not a Straw Hat. I mean, maybe, I honestly think it's still kind of in debate whether she like counts as a Straw Hat or not. Mm-hmm. But like her saying goodbye to her like does suck. You're sad to see her go.
I know.
She was a distinct and memorable character.
Absolutely. If she decided to join the crew, I would have been happy. I think she has a great dynamic with the team. Where we definitely get more moments of her pulling on Usopp's face, which I'm gonna miss. Hopefully somebody else pulls up on that, but
pulls up on that.
Exactly. But I am sad to see her go. I really enjoyed her. I think she brings a great like energy to the team because I feel like a few of the members can be like a little bit not overly, but there's a lot of sarcasm on the team, and I think Vivi was a good counterbalance to that, where she's like very earnest and like joyful.
That is true. She's actually a very pure character in that way, but not in like a like childish or like simplistic way.
Right, exactly. She's a lot more like Chopper than she is Nami, in like a character sense, I guess. Although
I'm sort of trying to think about like the themes that Oda's tackling here, and I'm not even talking about like the political ones, like which are great. Like we didn't even like. I sort of feel like we just got into like the fights and didn't talk about like the cool theme, like the ending of like Koza and blah blah blah.
True.
Like honestly, we're running low on damn batteries here. I can tell.
Yeah.
But I think Vivi, like, having to say goodbye is the perfect ending for her. Is like she got to like
Yeah.
have so much fun on the seas and make true and genuine friends. Because like that's something that I think Oda goes to great lengths to show here is that like being that important princess to people, being like untouchable, being like someone people would die for is like a horrible burden for her.
Mm-hmm.
So the Straw Hats are like her first like real friends who sort of look at her as equals, not like servants or like usurpers. Like they're just like equals to her.
Yep.
And I think it's tough that she has to say goodbye to that life, and like she can't even like say goodbye properly because like the Navy will get involved.
Right.
Which is like another. That's like that adds the tragedy of it all. It's like because of her position, she was once again deprived of something she like desires so greatly.
Exactly.
But she can find like meaning and happiness in that, the time they spent together and the goodbye.
Yeah. There's something really special about that dynamic. I think the goodbye itself is wonderful, and I agree that I think it really is a good thematic bookends, and something I hope we see more of in One Piece is obviously I think a lot of these characters will be seen basically for the entire saga, so I think it's interesting to see Oda like give a character a more definitive conclusion like this. That's like more of a saga spanning arc.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that she just gets to have like one big character arc with the saga, and then like where it's over.
Yeah. I definitely hope we see more of her though, but either way, I guess the great thing is like I'm left wanting more, not less. Like I think if she does come back and we see her more, like I'll be very happy. But I also think this is just like a great place for a character to, like leave at, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both are good.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're still in this. I mean, they literally have an entire chapter like where just the Straws are like, man, I miss Vivi. Darn.
Exactly. I'm with them, man.
And then all of a sudden, hey, there's this damn stranger on the ship, and she's trying to join the crew.
Yes.
What an arc ender.
Now, Reese, I have a confession to make.
Yes.
Well, maybe that's not even so much as a confession. I just have an interesting perspective on this because I knew that Nico Robin is a Straw Hat, but I did not know that she was Nico Robin until they said her name. So genuinely,
Yes.
I think the way that it's handled in the manga is brilliant. I don't know if like Oda had the foresight to be like, well, people know who she is in the future when they're reading it. But the fact that they drop her name like they do when Crocodile calls her that for the first time, like genuinely my jaw was on the floor. I kind of felt dumb that I didn't realize it sooner, but I thought that was a great reveal.
Well, Mr. Wesley, if I can play my hand,
Yes.
I actually had a sneaking suspicion that you knew that Nico Robin was a Straw Hat just through like cultural osmosis.
Yes.
So but I picked up on that you did not know. Like when we first met her at Whiskey Peak,
Yeah.
I kept calling her Miss All Sunday because I could tell you didn't know that was Nico Robin.
Yes.
So I knew every damn step of this.
I appreciate that, man.
You are in the palm of my hand.
I was. And we like that.
But yes, I think I don't know if it was intentional, but damn, it's clever and dare I say brilliant.
Yes. And I mean, I think that's a great way. I think my one disappointment with like Ace is that like, who knows when we're gonna see this guy again? Like, I want to see more of him now. But with Nico, like, I love how tantalizing this is because we know more is gonna happen with her right away. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought she was fun throughout this entire arc, but I think this last chapter with her is genuinely like her at her peak. Like, I love all of her little lines that she has here.
I was gonna say, I think she just is like kind of cute and interesting throughout Alabasta.
Yep.
She's nothing like notable, I would say. And so that's what like, I think going back through this, it's not like obvious or apparent that she's joining the crew.
Exactly.
Like in Baratie, you kind of get that Sanji's gonna join.
Yeah.
But like in this arc, you're not seeing like that this is a character who's gonna be more important. You just think she's like the henchman of like the guy.
True. Yeah, it's a very cool contrast, especially to all the other Straw Hats, because every single other one basically just like we see them basically at the beginning of the arc, and then they help out the crew pretty early on, and then they're just on the team by the end. But this is really the first character that's kind of like thrown a wrench in that rhythm.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
No, seriously. I mean, I also just think, I don't know why, but this fit of just like button-up shirt and black pants is like hard.
I agree.
Dare I say it, she has aura.
She really does. I really appreciate her character design. It's definitely not like that unique from the other women in One Piece, but it's unique enough that I'm like, oh, she has like she looks cool. I think it's her hair.
I don't know, man.
especially.
Like her hair and like she's got like a distinct nose, which I'm not even sure what that's supposed to like look like in real life, or like weird ass like double lined nose.
Yeah, true.
But she just like has a distinct look about her, and I think that panel of her saying "I want to join your crew" has like genuinely like it like gave me chills. I don't know why. It had aura.
I know what you mean, man. It's a striking image. I think the to try to put on like an arts analysis head, I think the framing of how she's positioned in the panel is actually really cool.
Yes.
It's very interesting, at least. I wouldn't be able to say exactly like why it's so cool, but I think like the way that she's positioned is very neat.
I think she's got like a distinct. There's great posing, and I think the art is very detailed. Like her hair is so like textured.
Yes, for
her
sure.
shirt is textured. Like it's supposed to draw. It's supposed to draw the eye and make it linger.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a really interesting idea in comic theory
Mm-hmm.
that how much time should a reader look at something, and that's dictated by not only like size. For example, a big double page spread is supposed to really like you're supposed to like whoa, because like emphasize this moment. But another one is detail.
Yes.
Like when art is detailed, your brain is registering and is taking more time, like taking up more space in the story, literally.
Yeah.
Like because your brain's taking longer to like process it, which is so interesting.
That is very interesting. I actually had a great discussion with a professor about that at one point, and I think it's very interesting. The note that he made that I think is very striking is that like comics are one of the few mediums where like the timing and the pacing is somewhat dictated by the reader, which I think is very interesting.
Yes.
And I definitely think that's true here, because the pacing of this is like you want to keep like reading all these speech bubbles quickly to like find out more, like why is she here, and then you get to this panel and then it's just so striking that she just has like a simple request, but the art is so detailed. I don't know.
And there's no background to really emphasize
Exactly.
like the emotion.
Yeah.
Like I just realized that both panels of her like just chilling, like the background is completely white because she's just like your attention is solely on her.
Yes. I think Oda especially does that. I was actually thinking about that in contrast to Fujimoto recently, because Fujimoto has great backgrounds, but basically every panel has backgrounds because he's kind of going for like a more realist art.
Yeah.
But since Oda is like playing a more of a cartoon space, he does that quite a bit where he just has a white background to emphasize things, like the Fave Moments art that we have of them putting their arms up. And I think it especially works well with these last few panels of Nico Robin.
I think Kubo, by the way, loves to do white backgrounds.
Absolutely.
Like, he loves to emphasize with black and white.
He has honestly, I can genuinely think of like I have so many panels flashing in my mind of like striking art from Bleach that have just like a white background. There's
actually a meme in like the Bleach hater down that like, yeah, fucking Kubo can't draw. He can't draw backgrounds, and it's like, dude, he's just using like a damn artistic tool.
Yeah.
You silly goose.
It's like a benefit of the medium, guys.
The real moral of the story is that watch out for false flags operations, kids.
That's actually kind of accurate.
Well, Wesley, this has been our longest episode by far. We just hit 2 hours on my recording.
Yes, me too. I think we should share our lovely ratings and then wrap this up.
I gave this arc an A. No plus or minus, just a straight A.
I think that's very fair. I gave the Alabasta arc an A+ rating.
I think this is my favorite arc so far.
Yes, I agree. I love this arc, man.
If I can go through my reflection real quick.
Absolutely.
I already gave my complaints.
Yeah.
My complaints were just Pal surviving is bad, even though I understand why it's bad. And Ace and Smoker should have played a bigger role.
I think that's all very fair.
But I think this is where One Piece becomes like, this is like, I've said this like 3 times, but this is the first like actual real One Piece arc. If you want to know what One Piece is like going forward in terms of like quality and structure and like tone, it's this. Straight up, it's just this.
I'm very excited. That's awesome.
I have the exact line of my reflection for all my audio only people is this is why One Piece has sold more than Spider-Man. Like, this is capital S shonen.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I think it's sold more than fucking Batman. It's like about to outsell Batman or something insane.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's like this and the Peanuts are like the two most sold comics ever, which is crazy.
It's I don't know, man. This has heart. It's got soul. It's got chops. It's got art. Not just heart. It's got art.
Absolutely.
I think this is really Oda, like, truly and genuinely locking in.
Yes.
We're not even close to seeing his full potential, his full power.
Wow. I can't wait to see more.
Do you have any other thoughts, any reflections, predictions?
I think my complaints were sprinkled throughout as well. I will say I'm very excited to hear more about this D initial and how that relates to all these characters that we've heard of. I definitely want to see more of Ace. I think that Vivi and Bon Clay will return. And I do think that we're going to hear more from Nico about potentially like an ulterior motive of why she's joining the Straw Hats up front.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Maybe she just really likes someone.
No, Wesley.
Yes, sir.
That's very fair. But I think I'm going to... this is the end of our episode now on Alabasta.
Yes.
But I'm going to leave you with a little tease for our next reading batch.
Oh, man.
So, this next arc, I would say, was... Actually, I'm going to amend this. This next arc was One Piece's most controversial arc until the last, like, one of the most recent arcs wrapped up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In fact, genuinely, there was, like, a fanon reading order that was just skipping this arc entirely, was the advice.
Jeez.
It was very controversial.
Like, controversial amongst fans for content reasons, or just the story of what happens?
People just didn't like it.
Interesting.
But, I don't want to say too much, but I think the winds have started to change on this arc.
Okay.
But there are many people who would genuinely swear that, like, the optimal One Piece reading route is, like, skipping this next arc entirely.
Jeez. Well, I'm very excited to see just what we think of that.
It's going to be a little crazy.
Yes, sir.
That wraps up our longest episode of Monkey D. Luffy versus the world,
Yes.
dude. Holy shit.
That was that was a great conversation, man. I'm excited to read more, and I'm excited to hopefully see some folks comment and talk about their favorite moments from this lovely arc as well.
I'm so excited to record for this next episode because I'm dying to know what you think, man.
I'm excited.
I'm even more excited for next episode. I'm even more excited.
I'm thrilled, man. I'm gonna, as soon as we finish, I'm gonna read some more.
Woo!